Boy, what a fun time it is in sports in 2026. Super Bowl matchup. We got it in the next couple of days. I'm super excited about it. And we got the World Cup around the corner. So I'm excited for all of that. Joining us, very special guest, Super Bowl champion, knows exactly what it takes to win and winning in crucial spots, especially when you need an extra point, you need a field goal. I'm really, really excited about this interview here today. So joining us on the program, Super Bowl champion Martín Gramatica joins us. So I gotta tell you, Martín, when you think about going up and into a Super Bowl, and you had the pleasure of playing with arguably one of the fun, best teams in football with the Tampa Bay Bucs, and to get there, the John Gruden coaching and all that, it's immaculate. And, when you think about that, because it takes a lot of hard work, gritty, fighting for every yard and fighting for every possession. So, of course, now we got our potential Super Bowl rematch of Super Bowl 49 with the Patriots Seahawks, but it feels different. It feels like a completely different narrative. So when looking into this matchup, I feel like I see with Seattle, it kind of reminisces a little bit of the Tampa team because it was a really good, talented defense, but also had the looks of an offense that's capable of scoring points. What do you kind of preview with this type of Super Bowl matchup? Because I'm excited for the second bout here.
Well, I'm sad that my Bucks aren't in the Super Bowl. Start with that, but it's nice to see different teams. It's nice to see obviously the Patriots get back there. Bravos, I had a chance. I was there in preseason in 2006, and got the chance to kind of be around the team and obviously around Bravos, and you could just see he was going to be a great coach in the future. Like, you get the way he talked to people, the way you could tell he loved football too. So that's huge. A guy loves football. So I was happy to see them back in the Super Bowl. But then with the Seahawks, the Sam Darnold story is a great story for kids to realize never to give up. You get drafted to, I think it was the Jets, and then things didn't go right in Carolina, a couple other spots, and then all of a sudden he's in the Super Bowl. So that's a great message for young people, especially in this day and age with a portal, where a lot of these kids, instead of fighting for a job, they quit and go somewhere else, or chase the money. So it's a great lesson of like perseverance and working hard, and now he's in the Super Bowl. So I'm happy for him. I don't know him, but it's just a great story.
It's because to me, I love the story itself because, and especially for a lot of the youngsters who watch the show, and I've had the pleasure of having many immaculate guests that came on here to share their experience. But, it's funny because some of these kids, they either are in Pee Wee football, they either are up and in high school ball getting ready for college, and then there's the college students with the NIL and the transfer portal that the minute they get into the league, it's like all it takes is be confident in yourself, always believe in yourself, and find ways to really up your game so that that way all the organizations and coaches can see that and know the work you put in that helps to earn the roster spot, and then at the same time contributing what you can on the field. So and it's funny because we don't usually talk a whole lot on the story about the kicker situation, because I watched the Patriots and Broncos game. Inclement weather, Martín, and snow's coming down. I live here in Denver, and so it was really, really bad. But to fight through all of that adversity with the weather, and then you're in the AFC Championship game, like, what does that take to really kind of lower the noise, kind of control like your mindset through the cold in order to make the points? Because everybody right now is all kind of giving Sean Payton crap because of not taking the points when it was crucial in those chess game matchups.
Well, it's really easy to be Monday morning quarterback and say you should have taken the 3 points. The thing is, where you can look at it, where it made even more sense to take the 3 points when you knew if there was a blizzard coming, that points were going to be hard to come by in the second half because of the weather. Because when you turn on the game, it looks beautiful, sunny, nice, beautiful, Denver days, and maybe a little breezy, but and cold, but it wasn't like the elements weren't that bad. And that was a short field goal. It would have been probably 25 to 30 yards. So more than likely, you can count on those 3 points. Now, knowing what you know now, where the second half, it was a completely different game, from half to half because of the weather, and you can't predict how big or how bad the blizzard was going to be. But it was impossible to kick in that weather because it was hard for both kickers. They both missed. It was not like one guy made their kicks and the other one did. It was just very difficult to kick, and a lot of that has nothing to do with the crowd noise. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just you don't have a clean plant foot, obviously with the snow, and then the wind. The wind was swirling around, and I feel like a lot of times kickers will aim in hopes that the wind pushes it in. And in this case, both of their balls stayed true to where they probably aimed and then move in. I think Borregales is 63-yarder. I think he probably obviously needed to overkick that because there's no way you can get a 63-yarder in that kind of weather. So when you overkick, your hips tend to go faster, and that's where you pull the ball. So that there's nothing you can really do about that. Those are the type of kicks that you hit as hard as you can and pray that it goes straight because of the weather, the elements, and the distance. You've got to hit it as hard as you can, and it's altering your normal swing because you're not swinging smooth. Now you're swinging as hard as you can. So it was a tough game for the specialist, the punter too. I mean, I saw New England had a really short punt, doing the Aussie punt coming out of the end zone, and caught it inside, and it went, I think it was like 15 yards. So yeah, the elements do play a big role in the kicking game for sure.
So you had the pleasure of being around Mike Vrabel as your teammate. And, to me, what I think is immaculate is everybody all will go back to the narrative of, well, New England just got a quote unquote easy schedule. Well, so did San Francisco. But yet they fought through all the elements. They fought through injuries. They fought through a lot of different inconsistencies, whether offense or defense. But they found ways to win to get them as far as they did. To me, I never doubted Mike Vrabel for a second because the minute I watched him as a culture type coach, he comes in 4-13 New England is, and then turns the page completely 360. And now they're back in the Super Bowl. And it's interesting because this is only the third time, Martin, we have watched a Patriots Tom Brady-less team be in the Super Bowl because it dates back to when they played the Bears. It goes back to the Favre and the Packers years. And now we're facing off against this Sam Darnold story Seattle Seahawks in Santa Clara. So when you think about it, like Seattle may look like on paper, they got the talented team. But when you look at New England, they've got a young quarterback in Drake May. And Mike Vrabel, all it is it's toughness, grittiness, fight for every yard. Like, how impressed have you been with this New England team? Because being around that and knowing the mentality and the confidence he brings into the table, it's like a breath of fresh air every time you come up into the locker room.
Oh, absolutely. I right now you look and you say, how stupid do the Tennessee Titans feel? Because when they fired him, I'm like, that's the dumbest move you could ever make. Because you could see he was changing the culture there. It takes time sometimes. Now he goes to New England and he flips it around overnight, which is impressive to do. But the identity of his team is his identity, the way he played. Tough, hard-nosed, old school. And I saw a little interview with that he was doing that. It reminded him. Teddy Bruschi said, "You remind me of Bill, but not Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells." And Bill Parcells is the tree starts there, and everybody kind of drops down, and those coaches all coached under him, and that's where he relates to the player, motivates the player, and gets the best out of his players. I love watching him coach, just because you could feel like, as a player, you would want to play for a coach like that. That's kind of a player's coach, where he messes around with the players. He's one of the guys, but also he's hard when he needs to be. I'm very excited for him. Obviously, I was there a short time, so I didn't get to spend too much time with him. I mean, he probably doesn't even know I was even in the Patriots preseason team, at the time. But the little time that I did share, sometimes hearing him talk at lunch or breakfast, talking to coaches, you could tell that he was going to be a great coach, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Tennessee now, they look at that and they had to make themselves up by going and hiring Robert Saleh. Because it's like, you messed up on that one, you fumbled it, and now you got to get another type of culture coach, which I'm happy for Robert Saleh to get the
He's good
job.
too. I like him a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I felt like, the Jets, it says it's itself, just end the season every year when it comes to New York. But it's like they need to fix some things up. And I feel like this is a better opportunity. He's a guy that knows how to put his foot down, and I think could really shape up this Tennessee team.
Yeah.
So something that's interesting, we know this week is going to be the Pro Bowl games. You've been, I'm not sure. Have you been a part of like the Pro Bowl games before in the past? Because I know that there was the kicking challenge that was there, which I thought that was a lot of fun when I used to
Right.
watch Robbie Gould and Nate Kading and a bunch of them. So when I look at these Pro Bowl games, I know a lot of people don't really take these as serious as it used to be, because it used to be like, did it mean for home field advantage? Did it mean for like, something for the next year going forward? But these Pro Bowl games, it's fun, exciting. You're right around the crowd and the fans, and they love to watch their favorite players. Like, I think with this Pro Bowl game, I wouldn't even get rid of it completely, only because it's like fan fest. I get a chance to meet these players. I get a chance to see what their athletic capabilities and their abilities are, whether it's your quarterback throwing the longest yard, a kicker making the uprights of how far he can possibly kick. Because I watched Cam Little this year, and it's like, good Lord, he's breaking records with the yards. So what do you think of this? Because it's like, I don't want it to go away, but I do want to up it where it's exciting, it's entertaining, and it gives you more for the fan experience.
Well, yeah, the fans love the fact that they have all these other side games that you don't see in a real game. I'm not a fan of it. I got a chance to go when there was a real game. We went to Hawaii. There was, and it was an honor, I believe, to go to the Pro Bowl. I feel like right now it's kind of watered down where guys don't want to go. Some guys are going to, I mean, Shadura Sanders just got voted in because there's like 7 or 8 quarterbacks ahead of him that can't go or don't want to go. So it's like, are you really a Pro Bowler, or are you just going because, there's not I mean, and he had a good year for coming in and stepping in but he only played, 6-7 games. So
Yep.
that's where I think it's been where the guys, I don't know if the guys appreciate it or value it as much as it did back then. I remember till this day, Kevin Winston, our player personnel guy, coming out. I was practicing warming up, and I saw the biggest smile of his face to let me know that I had made the Pro Bowl. And I'll never forget that feeling, or that his face coming out of how excited he was for me. And I tell him that all the time. Like, that's one of the like moments in your life that I could still see it in my head, and it's like it was yesterday. I don't know if the guys feel like that anymore when they get the announcement that you're going to the Pro Bowl. So that's where I think it's lost a little flair, personally. And as a fan, I don't want to watch flag football, for the Pro Bowls. Like, we love flag football. My daughter plays flag football. It's up and coming, and I'm excited that it's taken off because I have a daughter that plays flag football. So I'm not taking anything away from flag football. But as far as like Pro Bowlers, you made the Pro Bowl for being a football player, like tackling and hitting. I know they take it easy in the Pro Bowl, but at least it was just more realistic type of game.
Absolutely. So speaking of the Tampa Bay Bucs, I have a couple of questions here before I ask you an interesting one, because we know 2026 is grand for sports right now. So, Tampa, unfortunately, they fell short this year. And I was very surprised because they started out of the gate. Baker Mayfield was on fire. They had a great wide receiving core with adding in a rookie, Emeka Egbuka. But I feel like a lot of it is circled around what's happening with, like, Todd Bowles, the head coach. What didn't go right? They got rid of their offensive coordinator and they're getting a new one. So I think Tampa, they are very much competitive. And now they're going to have a shakeup in this division because Kevin Stefanski going to Atlanta. I love the landing hire because Atlanta needs something different. They need a shakeup. I really thought that with the coaching staff they had with Zach Robinson, they would have helped out Michael Penix, helped out. I know nobody wants to touch the Kirk Cousins contract because it's hefty, but
Right.
You now have New Orleans with Kellen Moore, who's going to be slowly building this up. but as long as they can pay their debts off with the amount of, the salary that they have. And, Tampa right now is kind of sitting in, we're still competitive. We still can compete for this division. What's kind of going to be the outlook, in your opinion, looking at Tampa, what they need to do better and knowing the competition is going to grow larger because, Carolina made it into the playoffs. They look like a different team. Where do you kind of see next year really looking for Tampa to be better?
Right. The last few years, we've had the luxury of having a division that hasn't been very strong, and I believe the Bucs won either 4 or 5 years straight. I think it was 4 straight. Now, like you said, every team in our division has gotten better. Carolina looked like a different team from the beginning of the year till the end, and obviously making the playoffs. Atlanta with a new coach, you still have to see, but Stefanski, he's coach of the year a couple of times, so he knows what he's doing. So that seems to be a team that could get better. And then the Saints, I don't know where as well, got better over the season. So we can't rely on thinking, we're going to have an easy division. We'll if we just play, 50%, 75%, we'll be fine. The thing that I think that Bucs have to do is solidify the depth, because we had so many injuries last year that our depth kind of hurt us, and not having a full roster till I think it was week 14 or 15, which we still didn't fire on all cylinders. Just because you get the guys back doesn't mean they're fully ready to play a full game, or game ready, or have the rhythm of a game, or the conditioning of a game. So that's what hurt us. We had so many key injuries, because every team's going to have injuries, throughout the league. But in our case, we had injuries to role players, and that's where it hurts you. When you have, Tristan Wirfs, your best, offensive lineman in the league, out for a few games, then came back, and he still, you could tell his leg still wasn't 100%, even though it was probably healthy, just but the strength wasn't, I don't think, there like he had been in the past. Obviously losing Mike Evans, Chris Godwin for a few weeks, Bucky Irving, who's our starting running back. So throughout the season, you've lost very key roles. Defensive players as well. The defense struggled a little bit, and that's when you lose Jamel Dean for a couple games. He was, in my opinion, was having a Pro Bowl year, and all of a sudden loses a couple games with an injury. So that's where we need to make sure, like, the depth is the biggest thing, because if you do end up having injuries like we did this year, we can't slip and slide and lose so many games.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, and the competition is going to continue to get stronger and larger from here. I even watch it with the AFC West, with how, the Broncos got better, the Chargers got better, and who knows what's going to happen with the Raiders at some point, but hopefully they're going to be up and on the page. But, you never can't count out Kansas City. But yeah, I know that football is good when I know some of the divisions like the South get better by the next year, and then there's more competition. An interesting question for you here, because you've had the pleasure of being coached by John Gruden and seeing the team that went as far as they did, winning the Super Bowl in 2002. My biggest thing is I look around the league. There are only about a couple of head coaching hires that are still vacant. Buffalo right now is still looking for their head coach. Cleveland right now is looking for their head coach, and so are the Raiders. But a vast majority, I feel like this was a record-breaking year of 10 head coaching hires, I feel like. And so, to me, I feel like with John Gruden, loves offense, absolutely loves offense. We watched, the quarterback tapes from years ago in his show, and then we still kind of watch his, his show and podcast when he describes all of this. And I know it may take a bit of time, but I feel, do you think there might be an opportunity he may rise out and coach again at some point in this league, especially for a team that, look, our culture's shaken up. We need a change up. We need to get some better players in this locker room and really work up our roster in order to build consistency. It's a 3-5 year plan at the end of the day, and how we can build that. Do you think he might end up at some point coming back in the woodworks and helping a team maybe like a Cleveland? Or, he's been with the Raiders before, or even, a Buffalo team, which we know Josh Allen's just got to get up over that mountaintop.
Well, he's probably Gruden's probably enjoying the beautiful Florida weather, so I don't know if I'd see him going to any of those cold weather. See, I wouldn't, like if you're living in
Yeah.
Florida, why would you go there and freeze? But he's doing such a great job with what he's doing now with his podcast and social media, and you could tell he's having a great time. But at the end of the day, he's a football coach and he loves to coach and he loves football. So would it be surprising if he said, you know what, I'm coaching again? Not at all. I can see him coaching again. The question is, I think it has to be the perfect place where he has some pieces in place where he feels comfortable. And the biggest thing is a quarterback. That's his thing. He needs to have a quarterback that can run his system, that can run his offense, and then from there he can build everything else. But it would not shock me or surprise me at all if he ends up coaching again, because he is truly a football coach that loves football.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I would absolutely love to see that, a little bit of a shake-up storyline back in the NFL, and love to see him coach his success. So, Super Bowl champion, Argentinian. And we know this year is going to be great because the fact of, we got the Super Bowl, but World Baseball Classic in baseball before the season starts. And then it's arguably the greatest tournament every 4 years in the FIFA World Cup. And we had the pleasure of watching Lionel Messi hoist the World Cup trophy. Now, we know there's a lot of talented teams in every country. We know we're asking, when is Cristiano Ronaldo going to have the opportunity to hoist the trophy for Portugal? And then there's the tough teams of Brazil, then France, and then here we are with the U.S. national team. And so I feel like this tournament alone, I think it's going to be exciting. You're going to have obviously your prime teams, but then you're also going to have a couple of different countries that are going to shake things up, kind of rattle it a little bit in the tournament. But when you look at this, because I looked at the NFL when they traveled around, they started the season in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which I thought, man, they're going right down up into South America. They're going everywhere. So I love the fact that we're traveling in the NFL. I'm not sure as far as a team goes because of the timeline, the weather, and the conditions that could kind of factor in. But as we watch this World Cup, what's kind of something that we can really combine this with the NFL and bringing in more games into different countries and different stadiums that's going to bring more of the experience as we watch this tournament? Because it's meant a lot to a lot of different players that are coming in internationally and really showcasing their skills in the NFL level.
Well, the biggest thing is, obviously there's the casual soccer fan that only watches the World Cup. Maybe because of a player, they could get hooked on it. And if that player's playing in the MLS, now you're watching the MLS. If the MLS is good enough for Messi, is good enough for any player, and that's the way I look at it. And Messi's done a great job of elevating the MLS, because now people are watching the MLS all over the world because of Messi. And that's what it's done for soccer in the States. Now, the biggest thing, in my opinion, is how does the U.S. national team do? Now, if we have a good tournament, obviously you got to get out of the first round, you hopefully win a couple, knockout games, then that will elevate soccer to another level. If we flop and struggle and don't get out of the first round, which I find it difficult not to get out of the first round, we have a good group, then that could set soccer back a little bit. But I think this is a great springboard to not only the MLS, but all the other leagues that are starting up, because you're getting more kids playing soccer, you're getting more fans watching soccer now, and to have success from the national team would be huge, because I think that's what elevates everything.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's where all the money's at. And I'm excited because the fact of now the World Cup is in the States. So you're going into a lot of places. I mean, I watched Seattle. They're going to be primed for the World Cup, and Lumen Field. And after watching how amazing the fan base was in that game against the Rams, it was immaculate. So I can only imagine what it'll be like for when soccer lands there, because it's been a continuous growing sport in Seattle. Now you got a hockey team. Who knows if the Supersonics basketball team comes back. And and then we just saw the Seattle Mariners go into the ALCS. So it really is exciting when you can touch down in a lot of these big places, and even for, amongst Florida, because you got a lot of, the South Americans there who come up and love the beach and love, the atmosphere. So that would be making it a great time for a lot of these athletes. So I'm excited for it. I really am pulling for our national team, but of course, there's also a bit of me with Italy and Mexico. So anything could really happen in this tournament, but really excited to see more talent from as far as the international pool to come into the NFL and really show off their stuff. Appreciate you for coming on by, Martín. Enjoy the rest of the week, my friend. This Super Bowl is going to be interesting and fun. And, like I said, it's prime for sports. I am all for it all year long, what 2026 has in store. Take care of yourself and appreciate you, man.
Yeah, appreciate you the invite. And yeah, man, it's going to be an awesome Super Bowl. Excited to watch it. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Take care.
Take care.